This is Eric from Pack Hacker, and today we're taking a look at the Bellroy Lite Belt Bag, which I've been testing for the past 2 weeks. Let's dive in. So at the time I'm recording this, there are 3 materials that you can get this in. There is Duralite Nylon, Duralite Ripstop, and Diamond Ripstop. So I believe this is the Duralite Ripstop. And depending on which material you choose, there are a few different colorways available. Again, at the time that I looked at this a few minutes before this review, this was the only colorway that came with, or this material only had this colorway. So I think this one is pretty unique. I do like the colorways that Bellroy normally chooses, but I like just a little bit different here with the almost like checkerboard style here. So I think that looks pretty nice. Very lightweight, does very well with water, spills and stuff like that, not really a problem. If it's gonna be downpouring for an extended period of time, maybe you wanna try to cover this up a little bit. But overall it does really well. We obviously have some coated zippers here as well, which we might as well get into right now. So YKK zippers, as I just mentioned, you do have the PU coating. As you might have just seen there a little bit, there is a tiny little bit hole there. Didn't have any issues with water getting into this, and we've had some rain here lately. It's very warm and some like scattered storms. And no issues with walking with this in the rain, water getting inside of it. Again, if it's gonna be pouring for an extended period of time, maybe cover it up a little bit. On the back here, we have another pocket, but there's no PU coating there. But again, this is kind of like vertical, so it's not really gonna have water sitting on it, whereas in theory, this could have more kind of like pooling. So don't really mind that. 2 different pulls here. I like the pull on this one because it's easy to grab and easy to like open when you need it. And this one's kind of flat, so when it's resting against your body, it's not really like poking you or anything like that, whereas this heat shrunk plastic might do so. We have little things here on either side of the zipper, so you can grab it to make it easier to open. And you can also kind of use it as a little makeshift lock there. So if someone was trying to get into your bag, they would have to put it through there before they opened it, which would take it just a little bit longer. I'm not sure if it's meant for that, but it is handy. On the strap, we have a Woojin magnetic buckle. No real issues with that. If you haven't used one before, it might take a little while to get used to. But again, it's pretty easy, pretty snappy, and it never popped off on me. I know some people have had issues with that, but no issues for me personally. And then we do have the Bellroy logo here right on the front. Pretty standard from Bellroy. If you've seen their stuff before, it's pretty much what they have on all of their gear. But I really do like how lightweight this is. It's obviously in their light collection, which is lighter materials. And we have no animal products, I believe, in this either. So, or no, at least no leather, which is a good shout from a sustainability, and if you're vegan or something like that as well. So overall, pretty happy with the exterior, and it just looks pretty unique, especially with that special colorway on the front and all the way around. So moving on to the harness system here, as you can kind of see, there's no padding, just not really a back panel in general, it's just the material. So I mean, there is a back panel, but it's nothing special. So no padding, no aeration, nothing like that. But because this is such a small bag, and there is this back pocket, you can kind of make your own back panel, if that makes sense. So right now my phone is stowed inside this pocket. I'm not sure how well you can see that. That kind of just makes it flat, so it's going to be pretty comfortable. If you were to put a bunch of like randomly shaped things in here, like if you put a bunch of rocks in here or something, it might not be as comfortable when it's like resting against your body. But overall, this doesn't bother me so much. We see this a lot with slings where when a smaller sling won't have a like actual back panel. And as long as you pack it correctly, it's not gonna be a huge issue. Moving on to the strap, again, no padding, no aeration, this is a pretty soft material. I actually like how it feels. Like if you're wearing a thin shirt or something like that, or even a tank top, like it's kind of comfortable. If you do pack this thing out completely and it's pretty heavy, it might dig in just a little bit, but I didn't have a problem with that, and I wore this thing quite a bit in testing, including I went to a soccer game this weekend. And had it on for probably 5 hours straight. So no issues with it really digging in. We do have a strap keeper right here, which I actually really like because it has a grippy material on the inside, so it doesn't slide around nearly as easily. And so it is a little bit harder to get it where you want it initially, but once it's there, it's gonna stay there and it's not gonna slide around at all. So I like that. Again, it does take a little longer to get it where you want it to be, but once it's there, it's not moving. So once you find a happy place for it to be, it'll stay there like for as long as you want it to, in theory anyways. No issues here with that. So overall, pretty comfortable harness system, but pretty minimal. So if you're finding this video helpful, make sure you throw a like on this video and subscribe to the channel so we can continue making content like this to help you travel smarter. So this is how I typically wore this bag while I was testing it. It's very comfortable on your front and you can access your gear very easily. Sorry if I just bumped the mic there. And you probably just got a lot of noise from the zipper, but very easy to access, just not really an issue. And also where the buckle is placed, I'm kind of turned around so you can't see it, is right like kind of up on my shoulder most of the time, like here. So if I am wearing a backpack, if I'm using this for travel, it's not going to be like rubbing up against my back because the back pedal's like pushing on it. But something to know is I do have some like range of motion issues in this arm. So this left arm is no problem coming all the way up here, but I can't get as high with this. So when I have it like up here, how I kind of like to wear it, it is harder for me to get to that buckle. Again, I can like move it around and stuff like that. It's pretty easy to do, but I just think that's worth noting that depending on, you know, where it's sitting, try not to hit the mic too much there. It just can be kind of difficult to reach if you have any kind of range of motion issues because it isn't, you know, right in the middle. So if it was right in the middle here, I could just take it off easily. But again, if you had a backpack on or something like that, it's going to rub up against your back. So give and take a little bit, but overall very comfortable, very easy to use. So we do have some secondary compartments, but I'm just going to do these all at once because they're both very small and we don't need that much time to talk about them. So the secondary compartment, we kind of mentioned it a little bit earlier, is this back pocket here. Just got my phone stowed inside here right now. As you can see, there is a little bit of wiggle room here. This is just a standard iPhone 11. I think as soon as I said that, I'm like, is that what I have? I'm pretty sure that's what I have. Standard iPhone 11. A little bit of room to work with there, so if you have a bigger phone, it should be okay, or just a larger item you want to stow inside there. I have a case on there too, so if you have a phone without a case, you'll have even more room to work with, but no organization or anything inside of there, and also just a very thin material. This is that ripstop material, so no real protection. So I would not put your phone facing this way. I would put it that way, so it's not, I don't know, just in theory, it just makes me feel better. It's against your body, but it could somehow, if you had it set down somewhere and something hit it, you could crack your screen or something, just because there really isn't any protection there. And obviously there isn't a ton of protection from this material, but you have the protection of the gear that's on the other side of the material just to kind of soften the blow if anything were to whack it. So really like that pocket. Don't have to use it if you don't want to, but it does have, you know, some dedicated space and is a good place for a phone, passport, something you're a little bit more just want to have a little bit closer to you, and flat items do well here because it's going to be up against your body. As I mentioned earlier, if you were to put a bunch of rocks in there or something, it's not going to be the most comfortable. But moving on to the main compartment, we can use the little tab there to open it nice and easily or close it nice and easily. It's very easy peasy. So I have a pair of headphones in here, or not headphones, a pair of sunglasses. These are not headphones. That should have a case on them, but they don't right now because that's, I think it's in my car or something like that. And this is exactly what I had when I took this to the soccer game this weekend. There was actually a battery bank in here too, but the headphone, everything that's in here was in there is what I should say. So it was able to handle that very well, and I didn't have any worry about these breaking because they're pretty durable. So inside here we do have a pretty long key leash here. It's a nice purple contrast, the same as that material there, and on the zipper pull too. So I either wish that this was a little bit longer or a little bit shorter. So if you've watched my videos on Packhiker before, you know that I want this to be long enough to reach any lock that I could possibly have to unlock, or short enough to just not be in the way of the interior. And this one's kind of in the middle, so I was able to unlock one door, but I couldn't unlock my back door with this. So just because like they're different heights on the lock on the door. So switch was a little bit longer, or like I said, a little bit shorter to stay out of the way. That's me being very nitpicky. Another thing is this is a little plastic buckle, and I don't typically love these little plastic ones, but no issues with durability on this. I've tested quite a bit of Bellroy gear, and I've never had an issue with the hardware they use for these. But I like it when they're metal, but again, that's me being super nitpicky about key leashes that you can see I'm not even actually using right now. But the only other organization feature we have in here is this pocket right here, and it's kind of I have my wallet stowed inside there right now. It's kind of an interesting pocket. It's got two entry points here. As you can see, we have one on this side over here, and then a larger one over here. So I'm not exactly sure what the point of that is, but it is kind of handy. You can like run a cable through here or something, like if you have your battery bank or something, you can run the cable out. Or if you're just putting something small inside here, like you could like throw a pen in there and like have it overhang onto the material. Not exactly sure what else you could use it for. I'm curious what you guys would use it for, so drop a comment down below. It reminds me of like, there's an episode of Always Sunny where Frank is wearing a wrestling singlet and it only has one like strap, and that's just kind of like what it reminds me of. Not sure why, but that's what popped into my head when I first saw it. And this is a stretchy material, so you can put kind of larger items inside there. Not a huge sling though, so you're not gonna be able to fit huge stuff in here, and the rest of the space is just kind of open. So I was, as I said, able to fit not a huge battery bank, like I have a 20,000 milliamp battery bank that doesn't fit in here because it's not quite long enough. But I was able to fit a 10,001 with no problem, and your standard battery bank is likely going to fit inside of here. But if you have bigger gear, like a pair of over-ear headphones, maybe would fit inside of here, but it's going to completely monopolize the space, so this probably isn't your best bet. But I have quite a few. I believe this is a 1.8 liter sling. I have a few slings that are around 1 liter, and I do find that this is a little bit better of an option if you are just bringing a little bit more than what would typically fit in your pockets, whereas a 1 liter sling is really, that's all you're gonna do, is the stuff that fits in your pockets. So like this all fits inside there with room to spare, and I was able to fit some larger gear too. So if you're constantly finding those 1 liter slings are just a little bit too small, this might be a good option for you. So there you have it, the Bellroy Lite Belt Bag. Thanks for keeping it here at Pack Hacker, your guide to smarter travel. We'll see you in the next one.